a lot of doctors, a kid will present and say, "Doctor, I think I'm transgender." And the doctor feels unqualified to handle that kind of thing. And so the doctor, thinking that she or he is doing the right thing, makes a referral to the experts or the gender clinic. They think that's appropriate. It's like when I was 18, I was anorexic and I saw my doctor, and my doctor referred me to a eating disorder clinic, right? That's just sort of how things work. And I'm very happy to say that that was effective and I stopped being anorexic. So that's good. But that's what these doctors are doing. They're referring kids to gender clinics, thinking they're doing the right thing. And the people who run the gender clinics, I do not think are motivated by good motives at all. I think these are horrible people who are paid to ruin people's lives.
Wow. Okay. So once a kid starts these, what happens if they change their mind? Like I've seen people online where they were kind of influenced by their peers and they thought it was the cool thing. And that's what they believed at the time. And then they get to be 21 and they're like, okay, that was wrong. I don't want that anymore. What do those people do?
So in theory, it's possible to stop after having taken puberty blockers. The long-term effects of puberty blockers by themselves are not known. So we don't know, for example, if it's ever possible to stop taking puberty blockers and then have a normal puberty. I've heard people say it is possible, and I've heard people say it's not possible.
Wow.
But part of the reason we don't know that is that almost no one takes puberty blockers for a few years and then stops. The vast majority of kids that go on puberty blockers go on to take opposite sex hormones. The vast majority go on to take opposite sex hormones. And those are absolutely not reversible. There's no question about that. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of young people, mostly in their 20s, having gone through all of this. And now they want to go back, but they're not reversible. So these young people often have to go through sort of psychological torture to realize what they have put themselves through, sometimes with the permission of their parents, always with the permission of their doctor, and often being encouraged by their therapists. And we have a lot of young women these days with a lot of artificially lowered voices because they can't get their voices back once they've been on testosterone. A lot of women have had double mastectomies and will never have their natural breasts back. And people sort of brush that off and say, well, they can just get synthetic ones. And it's like, how are we here? How on earth are we here? And there are plenty of boys and young men who are going through this as well. It's just much more prevalent in young women because it's young women who are being pressured into this more than boys. And that's not to say I lack sympathy for the boys who are going through this. Of course, I have tremendous sympathy for boys. How graphic can we be here?
No, be graphic. People should know what's going on. Like, this is awful.
I mean, there are young men who have had their testicles and penises removed. And, to go through regret for having done something like that, I don't know. I'm not a guy, but I just so feel for these young people who were pushed into something as dangerous as, and these kids are being sterilized. I mean, we can't forget that. We're having young people make the decision to sterilize themselves. Kids who can't buy alcohol are making the decision to sterilize themselves. And I think it's outrageous. So I really feel for these young people who are realizing what happened to them and they're trying to get their lives back.